I dragged my alpha out of a burning cabin. I carried him through flames while my own skin burned. I stayed beside his bed while he fought for his life. And when he finally stood again, he rejected me in front of the entire pack. Not for another woman, but for my sister. My own blood. Chapter 1. The night he rejected me. If I had let him die, maybe my heart would still be whole. Maybe my sister would still look at me like family. Maybe I wouldn't be standing here, in front of the entire pack, waiting to be publicly destroyed. The moon was full that night. Silver light covered the Blackwood Pack grounds like a spotlight made by the moon goddess herself. And I stood in the center of it all alone. My name is Arya Vale. I am the daughter of a beta. I am the wolf who dragged our alpha out of a burning cabin 3 months ago. And tonight, he chose my sister instead. 3 months ago the forest was on fire. Rogues had attacked our northern border. They set traps. They spilled gasoline. They wanted our alpha dead. Alpha Cade Blackwood. He was strong, ruthless, and feared across 3 states. And secretly he was my mate. I found him unconscious inside a hunting cabin, the roof collapsing above him. The flames were eating through the walls. Smoke filled my lungs. He was bleeding from his shoulder. He was dying. I didn't think. I shifted. My wolf tore through the fire. I grabbed his collar. I dragged him out while the cabin exploded behind us. The blast burned my back. The fire scarred my skin. But I didn't care. Because when he woke up, the first thing he whispered was my name. Arya. That was the moment I thought fate had chosen me. I was wrong. Now I stood in the ceremonial clearing. The entire pack gathered in a wide circle. Whispers moved like poison in the air. She really thought she'd be Luna. Poor thing. She should have known better. Kept my chin up. Across from me stood Alpha Cade. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hair falling slightly over his forehead. A scar near his eyebrow from the rogue fight. The scar I helped him survive. He didn't look at me. He looked at her. My sister Celine Vale. She stood beside him wearing white. The color of a chosen Luna. My stomach twisted. Celine and I were born minutes apart. We were twins. But we were never treated the same. She was soft-spoken, beautiful, perfect posture and perfect smile. I was stronger, faster and more stubborn. Father always said Celine would marry well. He never imagined I would be mated to an alpha. Neither did I. Until the night Cade's wolf brushed against mine after the fire. I felt it. The bond, hot, magnetic and unavoidable. He felt it too. I saw it in his eyes. But something changed after he healed. He grew distant, cold, and tonight. He finally spoke. His voice carried across the clearing. Arya Vale. My wolf whimpered inside me. I stepped forward. Yes, Alpha. His jaw tightened. We share a bond. The pack gasped softly. Celine's fingers curled around his arm. But, he continued, voice hardening, a bond does not guarantee suitability. The word hit harder than any blade. He finally looked at me. And I saw something there. Guilt but not love. My duty is to this pack, he said. And the pack needs a Luna who brings unity. Not division. Division. I saved your life. I burned for you. I would have died for you. He reached for Celine's hand. And I have chosen Celine Vale as my future Luna. The world stopped. My ears rang. The bond inside my chest cracked like breaking glass. My wolf howled in agony. He chose her. Celine looked at me. Not with regret. Not with apology. But with quiet victory. And that hurt more than anything. I don't remember stepping back. I don't remember breathing. All I remember is the next part. Alpha Cade raised his voice. Arya Vale, I reject you as my mate and future Luna. The words struck like lightning. Pain exploded through my body. The mate bond snapped violently. It felt like something ripping out of my soul. My knees hit the ground. Gasps echoed around me. Some wolves looked away. Some watched like it was entertainment. Tears blurred my vision, but I refused to cry loudly. I would not give them that. Through the pain, I forced myself to speak. If I stayed silent, the rejection would complete uncontested. My voice shook. I accept. The moment the words left my mouth, the bond shattered completely. Cold, empty and silent. My wolf curled inside me like she had been abandoned. Alpha Cade inhaled sharply as if he felt it too. Good, let him feel something. Celine squeezed his arm tighter. And then she did something that broke me in a way rejection never could. She smiled at me. Soft, sweet and innocent. Like she had won a prize. The ceremony ended quickly. Music started. The pack celebrated. I staggered to my feet and walked away while they toasted my sister's future. No one stopped me. No one defended me. Not even my father. Especially not my father. As I reached the edge of the clearing, I heard Celine's voice behind me. Arya, wait. I didn't turn. Why? I asked quietly. Her heels crunched against gravel as she approached. You know this is better for everyone, she said gently. I turned slowly. You knew, I whispered. She didn't deny it. She lowered her eyes. He came to me, she said. He said the pack council didn't trust you. My heart pounded. The council. They think you're too impulsive. Too emotional. Too strong. Too strong. That was my crime. I laughed softly, broken. So you comforted him? She didn't answer. That was answer enough. I stepped closer. Tell me one thing, Celine. When he touches you, does the bond burn? She froze. Her silence screamed. Because she knew. There was no bond between them. He didn't choose his mate. He chose politics. And she chose power. I walked away before she could see the tears finally fall. That night I packed a small bag. By dawn I would leave Blackwood territory. There was nothing left for me here. No mate. No dignity. No future. But as I stepped onto the forest path, my wolf suddenly growled, low and warning. And a voice echoed in my mind. Not my wolf, not Cade. Someone else. Deep, ancient and awake. You were never meant for him. I froze. The forest wind went still. A presence moved between the trees, watching me and waiting. And for the first time since the rejection, I didn't feel broken. I felt chosen. Chapter 2, The Alpha in the Shadows. The forest should have felt familiar. I grew up running through these trees. Hunting here. Training here. Laughing here. But that night, it felt like I was walking into something unknown. The voice echoed again in my mind. You were never meant for him. I stopped breathing. Who are you? I whispered. My wolf lifted her head slowly inside me, not afraid but alert. The trees ahead shifted. Not from wind. From presence. Then I felt it power. Not like Cade's. Cade's power was sharp, commanding and controlled. This power was ancient, heavy and calm. It pressed against my skin like gravity. And then he stepped out of the shadows, tall, broad, darker skin, silver streak in his black hair. Eyes that glowed faint gold in the moonlight. He wasn't wearing pack colors. He wasn't from Blackwood. But he was Alpha. I could feel it in my bones. He studied me quietly. You're leaving, he said. His voice was deep, steady, almost amused. I straightened. I don't answer to strangers. One corner of his mouth lifted slightly. No, you don't. That surprised me. Most males reacted badly to defiance. He stepped closer. Not threatening. Just present. I am Alpha Ronan Nightfall. The name hit like thunder. Nightfall pack. The strongest pack on the eastern border. Stronger than Blackwood. Stronger than anyone. Why would their alpha be here? You crossed territory lines, I said carefully. I did. Silence stretched between us. Then he looked toward the direction of my pack grounds. They rejected you. Not a question. A statement. My jaw tightened. That's none of your concern. His golden eyes moved back to me. It became my concern the moment the moon mark shifted. My breath caught. Moon mark? What are you talking about? He stepped even closer now. Close enough that my wolf stirred in awareness. 3 months ago, he said quietly, when you pulled a dying alpha from fire, the moon goddess marked you. My pulse pounded. That mark was not for Cade Blackwood. The forest seemed to tilt. That's impossible, I whispered. He shook his head once. You were never meant to be his Luna. The words hurt. But something inside me also felt relief. Then his voice lowered. You were meant to be something else. A distant howl cut through the air. It was sharp and urgent. Ronan's head turned immediately. His expression changed and focused. Rogues, he muttered. My body went cold. They're still near our border? No, he said. They're hunting you. My heart stopped. Before I could respond, 3 dark shapes burst from the trees behind me. Rogue wolves. Large. Scarred. Eyes glowing red. They weren't random attackers. They were tracking me. Stay behind me, Ronan ordered. I bristled. I can fight. I know, he said calmly. But tonight you are not dying. The rogues lunged. Everything happened fast. Ronan shifted midair. His wolf was massive. Jet black. Larger than any wolf I had ever seen. He slammed into the first rogue, crushing it beneath his weight. I shifted instantly. Pain shot through my spine as bones cracked and reformed. My silver-gray wolf burst forward. I tackled the second rogue before it reached Ronan's flank. We rolled through dirt and leaves. It snapped at my throat. I tore into its shoulder. The third rogue tried to flee. Ronan caught it before it made 3 steps. The fight ended in seconds. Silence returned. But something felt wrong. Too easy. Too clean. Ronan shifted back to human form first. I followed, breathing hard. They weren't after food, he said. They were sent. By who? I demanded. He looked directly at me. Someone who doesn't want you leaving alive. My stomach dropped. Only one group would care if I disappeared. Blackwood. No, I said immediately. Cade wouldn't. Not him, Ronan interrupted. The council. Cold realization crept over me. The council never trusted me. They said I was unpredictable. Too strong. Too outspoken. And if I left, I could ally with another pack. Like Nightfall. I looked at Ronan slowly. You think they're afraid of me? He held my gaze. I know they are. A long silence followed. Then he said something that changed everything. Come with me. My heart skipped. What? Come to Nightfall territory, he said calmly. Until we uncover who ordered this. You expect me to just trust you? No. His answer was immediate. I expect you to survive. He stepped closer again. But this time, I felt it like a pull. Not like the old bond. It was stronger, warmer, and deeper. My wolf stood fully now. Awake and curious. Ronan's eyes darkened slightly. You feel it. It wasn't a question. I swallowed. Yes. He nodded once. The moon goddess does not make mistakes. My chest tightened. I just lost my mate. His voice softened slightly. No. He stepped so close I could feel his breath. You were freed from the wrong one. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. And somewhere deep inside, something ancient stirred again. Not pain, not rejection, but power. Behind us, in the distance, a horn sounded from Blackwood territory. Emergency signal. Ronan's expression sharpened. That's not routine. Another horn followed. Then smoke rose faintly above the tree-line. My heart dropped. That's coming from the pack grounds. Ronan looked toward it carefully. This is no coincidence. My mind raced. Rogues were sent after me. And something was happening back home. Then someone was moving pieces on a board I didn't understand. Ronan looked back at me. You have two choices. Run from your pack. Or walk back in stronger than they expect. My wolf growled softly. Not afraid but ready. For the first time since the rejection, I didn't feel small. I felt dangerous. I picked up my bag slowly. I'm not running. Ronan's lips curved slightly. I was hoping you'd say that. He stepped aside, giving me space. Then let's go back. But this time, he added quietly, you won't be standing alone. As we moved through the forest toward the rising smoke, I didn't know what waited for me. I didn't know who was pulling the strings. I didn't know why the moon goddess marked me. But I knew one thing. Alpha Cade rejected me. The council feared me. And the Nightfall Alpha just chose to stand beside me. And this time, I wasn't the one being left behind. Chapter 3. The Luna They Never Saw Coming. The closer we got to Blackwood territory, the thicker the smoke became. My heart pounded harder with every step. I knew those trees. I knew those rooftops. That was my home. And it was burning. We broke through the tree line. Chaos, wolves running. Pups crying. Warriors shouting orders. Rogue wolves everywhere. This wasn't a small attack. This was planned. And it was happening the night after my rejection. Not a coincidence. Ronan stepped forward beside me, calm but deadly. Stay close, he said. But I didn't. Because I saw her. Celine. She was near the pack house steps, cornered by two rogues. Her white Luna dress was torn. Blood stained her sleeve. She was fighting, but she wasn't strong enough. For a second, just 1 second, a dark thought crossed my mind. If she dies, this ends. The humiliation. The replacement. The betrayal. But then she screamed. And she wasn't my rival in that moment. He was my twin. I shifted instantly. My wolf launched forward. I hit the first rogue from the side, crushing it against a stone pillar. The second turned to attack me. But it never reached. A massive black wolf slammed into it. Ronan. The rogues didn't stand a chance. When the dust settled, Celine was staring at me. Shock in her eyes. You came back, she whispered. I shifted back, breathing hard. I don't let rogues clean up my mess. Her lips parted, but before she could speak, a voice roared across the courtyard. Arya. Alpha Cade. He stood at the center of the chaos, blood on his shirt, sword in hand. And when he saw Ronan beside me, his expression darkened. What is Nightfall doing on my land? Cade demanded. Ronan didn't flinch. Cleaning up what you failed to protect. The air thickened instantly. Even in the middle of battle, dominance radiated between them. Cade's jaw tightened. I didn't invite you. Ronan's voice stayed calm. She didn't need your invitation. His hand brushed slightly against my arm. Not possessive but protective. And Cade saw it. His eyes flickered. For the first time, uncertainty. Before either alpha could escalate, a loud explosion shattered the air. The pack house windows blew outward. Flames burst from inside. Screams echoed. And then I felt it. A wave, cold, dark and ancient. Not rogue, not wolf, but something else. My wolf froze. Ronan's head snapped toward the burning house. "That's not normal fire," he muttered. Cade barked orders at his warriors. But I wasn't listening. Because the cold wave hit me directly. Wrapped around my chest. It pulled and suddenly the ground beneath me cracked. Not physically but energetically. The air around me shifted. Ronan turned toward me sharply. "Arya." I couldn't breathe. Something inside me was breaking open. Not the bond, not pain but power. It surged through my veins like lightning. My wolf didn't cower. She expanded. Glowing faint silver. The flames from the house flickered wildly. Then they bent. Toward me. Gasps erupted around the courtyard. The fire wasn't random. It was reacting. To me. Celine stepped back in fear. "What is she doing?" someone whispered. I wasn't doing anything. I was just standing there. And the fire was obeying. Ronan stepped closer, voice low. "Arya, listen to me." But I couldn't. Because I heard another voice. The same ancient presence from the forest. "You are not Luna." The flames spiraled higher. "You are flameborne." My heart slammed violently. Flameborne? The fire shot upward in a tall column. Then crashed down, extinguished. Smoke drifted through the courtyard. The entire pack stared at me. No one moved. Cade's voice broke the silence. "What are you?" The question hurt more than the rejection. Not who, what. Before I could respond, the pack council emerged from behind the house. Elder Marcus at the front. His eyes weren't surprised. They were afraid. He stepped forward slowly. "It's true," he whispered. Ronan turned toward him. "You knew." Marcus nodded faintly. "We suspected after the fire 3 months ago." My stomach dropped. "Suspected what?" Marcus looked directly at me. "You were born under a blood moon." "So was Celine," I snapped. He shook his head. "But only one twin carries the ancient mark." The courtyard felt too small. Too tight. "Speak clearly," Ronan ordered. Marcus swallowed. "There is an old prophecy." Cade's expression hardened. "Why am I hearing about this now?" "Because," Marcus said quietly, "we hoped it wouldn't awaken." Cold spread through my chest. "What prophecy?" Marcus looked at me like I was both miracle and disaster. "When the flameborne rises, she will either unite the packs or burn them to ash." Silence, total silence. My mind reeled. Unite or destroy. And suddenly everything made sense. The council's fear. The rejection. The rogue attack. They weren't trying to protect the pack. They were trying to control me. Celine's voice trembled. "So you chose me because she's dangerous?" Cade didn't answer. But his silence was loud. I looked at him slowly. "You knew," I whispered. His eyes finally softened. "I knew the prophecy," he admitted. "But I didn't know if it was you." Ronan's voice cut in sharp. "So you rejected her publicly instead of standing beside her." Cade's jaw flexed. "I did what I thought was best for my pack." I felt something shift inside me. Not heartbreak this time, it was clarity. "You were afraid," I said quietly. Cade didn't deny it. That hurt more than anything. Not love lost, but courage missing. Suddenly a weak laugh escaped me. "I saved your life," I said. "And you rejected me because I might be too powerful." The truth echoed around us. Ronan stepped slightly in front of me now. Not hiding me, shielding me. "If the prophecy is real," he said evenly, "then she doesn't belong under leaders who fear her." Cade's eyes snapped up. "And you don't." Ronan met his gaze without blinking. "No." The single word landed like thunder. And for the first time, I felt something new in my chest. Not the old mate bond. Something steadier and stronger. Celine suddenly stepped forward, her face pale. "They're coming back," she whispered. All heads turned. From the forest, more red eyes appeared. But these weren't rogues. They moved differently, coordinated and controlled. And in the center of them, a tall, cloaked figure stepped into the clearing. Slow, confident and watching me. The cold, ancient presence surged again. Stronger and hungry. Ronan's voice dropped low. "That is not a rogue." The cloaked figure lifted its head. Glowing eyes locked onto mine. And a voice echoed through the courtyard. Not spoken but felt. "She belongs to me." The wolves around us growled. But I felt something else. Recognition and fear. As deep inside, a part of me knew. This war was never about rogues. It was about me. Chapter 4. The Mark of Protection. The cloaked figure stepped fully into the courtyard. The air grew colder. Not winter cold. Grave cold. The wolves around us lowered their heads instinctively. Even Alpha Cade stiffened. The figure removed its hood slowly. Gasps rippled across the pack. It wasn't a rogue. It wasn't even fully wolf. His eyes glowed red and silver at the same time. Veins darkened his skin like cracks in stone. "I am Malric," he said calmly. His voice echoed inside my skull. Not through the air. Through my mind. The flameborne was promised. Promised? Ronan stepped forward slightly. "You trespass on Blackwood land." Malric's lips curved faintly. "You think landlines matter to ancient power?" The firelight flickered again around me. My wolf growled low. Malric's gaze locked onto mine. "You feel it, don't you?" "Yes." I did. Something inside me reacted to him. Not attraction but recognition. Like two forces born from the same storm. "I don't belong to you," I said firmly. His smile widened. "You belong to destiny." Behind me, Celine suddenly spoke. "You said the prophecy would unite the packs." Her voice trembled. Malric looked at her briefly. "She can unite them," he said. "Or destroy them." His eyes returned to me. "And I prefer destruction." Ronan's energy shifted instantly. Dangerously. "You will not touch her." Malric tilted his head slightly. "And you think you can stop what the moon began?" Before anyone could react, Malric raised his hand. Dark energy shot toward me. Fast and violent. But it never reached. Ronan moved faster than sight. He pulled me against his chest and twisted. The energy struck him instead. A deep growl tore from his throat. The courtyard shook. My heart slammed. "Ronan." He staggered slightly but didn't fall. Instead, something inside him ignited. His wolf surged forward through his skin. Not fully shifted. Half-formed. Eyes blazing gold. "You want her." Ronan's voice layered with his wolf's. "Come through me." The air cracked. Malric studied him carefully now. Then he laughed softly. "This is entertaining." More dark wolves stepped forward behind him. This was not a warning. This was a test. And we were failing. Suddenly Elder Marcus shouted. "It's happening too fast." "Too fast?" I turned sharply. "What are you talking about?" His face was pale. "The prophecy said the flameborne must be claimed by strength, or claimed by shadow." My stomach dropped. Claimed, not chosen. Malric's eyes glowed brighter. "She has not been fully bonded." The meaning hit me. The broken mate bond left me vulnerable. Unclaimed and unprotected. Ronan understood at the same time. His gaze snapped to mine. "There's only one way to block him." My breath caught. "You don't mean?" "Yes." Cade stepped forward instantly. "No." His voice cracked like thunder. Ronan didn't look at him. "If she remains unmarked, Malric can force a shadow bind." The courtyard erupted in confusion. Celine stepped back in horror. A shadow bind? Marcus nodded weakly. It would twist her power. Malric smiled. Finally. Someone honest. My pulse pounded in my ears. Ronan's hand tightened gently around mine. I can give you a temporary protection mark. Temporary, safe and protective. But I knew what it meant. It wasn't mating. But it was intimate and sacred. Cade stepped closer. You don't get to touch her. Ronan's eyes flashed. You rejected her. The words hit like a slap. Cade froze. And in that pause, Malric raised his hand again. Choose quickly. Dark energy swirled around the clearing. The wolves behind him began advancing. My wolf roared inside me. Not in fear. In fury. I was done being a pawn. I looked at Ronan. His gaze wasn't possessive. It wasn't demanding. It was steady. I will not control you, he said quietly. But I will protect you if you let me. For the first time, someone offered protection without ownership. Without fear but choice. I turned to Cade. His eyes were filled with conflict and regret. But still hesitation. He didn't step forward. He didn't claim me. He didn't fight for me. And that told me everything. I looked back at Ronan. Do it. He didn't hesitate. His hand moved to the back of my neck. It was warm and firm. He leaned close. My wolf lifted her head willingly. His teeth grazed my skin. And then he bit. Pain flared. But it wasn't tearing. It was sealing. Heat rushed through my body. Silver light exploded outward from me. The dark energy in the courtyard recoiled violently. Malric hissed. The protection mark glowed faint gold at my neck. Ronan pulled back slowly. His forehead rested briefly against mine. You are not alone, he whispered. And for the first time since the rejection, I believed it. Malric's expression darkened. You delay the inevitable. He lifted his hand again. But this time my power answered. Flames erupted around me. Not wild. Controlled. They formed a ring of fire between us. The wolves gasped. The council fell to their knees. Even Cade stepped back. I didn't feel out of control. I felt awake. Malric's eyes narrowed. This changes nothing. He stepped backward slowly. But war has begun. The shadow wolves retreated with him. The darkness dissolved into the trees. Silence returned. Heavy and shaken. My flames faded. My knees almost buckled, but Ronan caught me. The courtyard stared. Not with pity. Not with gossip. With fear. With awe. Cade stepped forward slowly. His voice was low. You let another alpha mark you. I met his eyes calmly. You rejected me. The truth settled between us like stone. Celine's voice broke the silence. So what happens now? Ronan answered. Now, we prepare. Marcus swallowed. For what? Ronan's golden eyes lifted toward the dark forest. For war. I touched the mark at my neck. It pulsed gently. Warm and protective. And deep inside, my wolf whispered something I never expected. Not about destiny. Not about power. But about him. About Ronan. And for the first time, the pull I felt wasn't forced. It was chosen. Chapter 5. The Sisters' Bargain. War does not begin with swords. It begins with secrets. By dawn, the courtyard was quiet. Too quiet. The damage from the attack was heavy, but not devastating. Almost like it was meant to scare. Not destroy. That bothered me. Ronan stayed through the night. Not as conqueror. Not as rival. As shield. His warriors arrived silently before sunrise. Nightfall wolves moved like shadows. Disciplined, calm, terrifying. Blackwood wolves watched them with uncertainty. Alpha Cade hadn't slept. I could see it in his eyes. He stood on the balcony of the pack house, staring down at the courtyard where I stood beside Ronan. The distance between us felt larger than territory lines. It felt final. Then Elder Marcus called for a council gathering. All ranked wolves assembled inside the main hall. The air was thick with tension. I stood at the center. Not as rejected mate. Not as future Luna. But as the flameborne. Marcus cleared his throat. We have confirmed something. His voice shook slightly. The rogues were not random. We found markings near the north border. Ronan's jaw tightened. Shadow sigils. Marcus nodded. Yes. Celine stood near the front, her face pale but composed. She hadn't spoken much since the attack. That wasn't like her. She was usually the calming voice, the peacemaker. But now she looked distracted. Cade finally spoke. Who opened the north gate? There was silence. Then a warrior stepped forward hesitantly. It was already unsealed when we arrived. The room went still. Only high-ranking wolves had access to those gates. Marcus swallowed. That means someone inside, Ronan finished calmly. A traitor. The word didn't need to be spoken. Cade's eyes darkened. No one leaves this hall. The doors were shut and bolted. My wolf stirred uneasily. Something felt wrong. Not fear but recognition. I looked at Celine. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Cold realization crept into my chest. Celine, I said quietly. Her shoulders stiffened. Cade noticed. Celine, he repeated. She inhaled slowly. Then she looked up. And for the first time in my life, I didn't see my sister. I saw someone calculating. I didn't think it would escalate, she said softly. The hall exploded in whispers. Cade stepped toward her. What did you do? Her eyes filled with tears. But they weren't innocent tears. They told me it was only pressure, she whispered. Who told you? I demanded. Her gaze flickered to me. Then away. Malric approached me weeks ago. The world tilted. Weeks ago. Before the rejection, she continued. He said the council feared you. Marcus froze. He said if you rose to Luna, the pack would divide. My chest tightened. So you worked with him? Her voice cracked. I only opened the gate once. Gasps filled the hall. I thought a small rogue attack would make the council reconsider you. There was silence. Then she whispered the words that broke everything. I never meant for him to come himself. The weight of it crushed the room. Cade's voice was dangerously low. You betrayed your pack. Celine looked at him desperately. I did it for us. For us to rule without fear. Her eyes flickered to me. And for you to be safe from her power. Safe from me. I stared at her. You were afraid of me. She shook her head quickly. No. I was afraid of losing everything. There was not love. Not protection but ambition. Ronan's voice cut through. Malric doesn't negotiate. Celine's face went white. I know. The doors suddenly shook violently. A massive impact. Then another. The windows darkened unnaturally. The room temperature dropped. Malric's voice echoed through the walls. You disappoint me, little Luna. Celine gasped. I didn't agree to this. The doors burst open. Shadow wolves flooded the hall. Screams erupted. Chaos exploded again. Ronan shifted instantly. Cade followed. Warriors engaged. I grabbed Celine's wrist. We need to move. But before we could, dark energy wrapped around her body. She screamed as she was yanked backward through the shattered doorway. Arya. I lunged forward. But Ronan caught me. Stop. I can't leave her. His grip tightened. It's a trap. My heart tore in half. Through the doorway Malric stood calmly, holding Celine suspended in the air beside him. You chose strength over shadow, he said to me. Now watch what strength costs. My flames ignited instantly. The protection mark burned hot against my neck. Let her go. Malric tilted his head. Trade. The word froze everything. Your protection mark, he continued softly. For her life. The hall went silent. Ronan's wolf snarled. No. Celine cried out. Don't. But I saw it in Malric's eyes. He would kill her. Not slowly. Not dramatically. Quickly. To prove a point. Cade stepped forward, blood on his face. Take me instead. Malric laughed. You are irrelevant. The insult cut deeper than claws. I felt the entire pack watching me. Waiting. Luna who unites. Or fire that destroys. If I removed Ronan's mark, Malric could bind me. Corrupt me. Use me. But Celine was still my twin. Even if she betrayed me. Even if she chose power over blood. She was still mine. Ronan stepped in front of me. You are not sacrificing yourself. His voice was firm. Unmovable. I looked at him. You said I wasn't alone. I meant it. His golden eyes burned with intensity. But you are not giving yourself to darkness. Celine's scream cut through the hall again. My wolf howled in agony. I closed my eyes. And for the first time, I didn't feel torn. I felt something else. Control. I stepped forward slowly. I won't remove the mark. Malric's smile faded slightly. But I will give you something else. The room stilled. What? He asked. I lifted my hand. Flames rose. But this time, they weren't red. They were silver, ancient and blinding. You want flameborne power? The fire roared higher. Then take it. I slammed my palm into the ground. The entire hall erupted in light. Malric's shadow energy recoiled violently. Celine dropped from his grip. Ronan moved faster than thought and caught her. Malric staggered backward. His skin cracked under the silver fire. You are not ready for what you carry, he hissed. Neither are you, I answered. With a final surge of power, the shadow wolves disintegrated. Malric retreated into darkness. Silence crashed down. Smoke drifted through the hall. Celine lay unconscious in Ronan's arms, alive. Cade stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Not as rejected mate. Not as mistake. But as something greater. Something he let go. Ronan stepped to my side again. Not claiming. Standing. And in that moment, the pack didn't look at Celine. They didn't look at Cade. They looked at me. Not in fear. In belief. War wasn't coming. War was here. And I had just declared it. Chapter 6. The Alpha I chose. War does not wait for healing. By sunset, Blackwood territory felt different. Not broken but awake. The pack didn't whisper anymore. They watched me openly now. Not as the rejected twin. Not as the dangerous prophecy. But as hope. Celine rested inside the pack house, weak but alive. Cade hadn't left her side. I stood near the northern border where the gate had once been opened. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Ronan approached without sound. You shouldn't stand alone, he said. I didn't look at him. I was alone long before tonight. He didn't argue. He stood beside me. Steady, not demanding space and not claiming it. Just there. After a moment he spoke again. Malric won't retreat for long. I know. The silver fire inside me was calmer now. Controlled but stronger. What is he? I asked quietly. Ronan's expression darkened. He was once alpha of a forgotten pack. Centuries ago he tried to control flameborne power. And it corrupted him, I whispered. Yes. He believes if he binds you he can control the prophecy. Unite the packs. Or burn them. I closed my eyes briefly. I don't want either. Ronan studied me. Then what do you want? I want a choice. Not fear. Not politics. Not destiny forced onto me. Just choice. Before he could respond, the ground trembled. Dark clouds rolled across the sky. Malric stepped through the tree line alone. No army. No shadows. Just him. You've grown, he said calmly. So have you, I answered. Ronan shifted slightly in front of me. I touched his arm gently. It's my fight. He hesitated, then stepped back. Malric smiled. You think you can resist destiny? I don't need to resist it, I said. I need to define it. He attacked. Dark force slammed into me. Pain exploded through my body. But I didn't fall. The protection mark burned. Ronan's presence grounded me. The pack stood behind me. Even Cade. For the first time, I wasn't fighting alone. Silver fire rose around me. Malric's shadow met it head-on. Light against corruption. The forest shook violently. You cannot cleanse centuries, he roared. I don't need centuries, I answered. I need one choice. He lunged again. Darkness wrapped around my throat. My knees hit the ground. My wolf howled. Then, wait. Celine's voice. She walked toward us, weak but determined. She stood between us. I was jealous, she said softly. You were always stronger. Braver. You never shrank yourself. Her voice trembled. I did. And I hated you for it. Tears filled her eyes. I chose fear. And I almost destroyed everything. Malric sneered. You are weak. Yes, she whispered. But she isn't. He raised his hand. Celine grabbed his wrist. Arya. Now. I understood. She wasn't strong enough to defeat him. But she could hold him. For one moment. And that was enough. Silver fire erupted fully. Not rage. Not fear. But clarity. I stepped forward and placed my palm over Malric's chest. The flames moved inward. Into the cracks of corruption. He screamed. You cannot cleanse centuries. I don't need centuries, I said again. I need choice. The silver light engulfed us. Then silence. When it faded, Malric was gone. Not ash. Not shadow. He was really gone. The corruption dissolved. The air warmed. Celine collapsed. I caught her. Stay with me. She smiled faintly. I always wanted to be chosen. You were, I whispered. By me. He survived. And when she woke days later, she didn't ask for power. She asked for forgiveness. And I gave it. Not because she deserved it, but because I refused to let jealousy define our bloodline. 3 nights later, Cade called a full assembly beneath the moon. He stood before the pack. Not proud. Not defensive. I led with fear, he admitted. I rejected strength instead of standing beside it. He turned to me. Blackwood needs an alpha who does not fear her own fire. Then he removed the alpha band from his arm. He stepped down. Not in disgrace. In recognition. The pack bowed. To me. I accepted leadership with one condition. No more secrets. No more decisions made in shadow. We rebuild without fear. The council agreed. From that night forward, Blackwood and Nightfall formed an alliance. Not through politics. Through trust. Cade remained as head warrior. Celine chose to train as a healer. And for the first time in our lives, my sister and I stood side by side without competition. As for Ronan, He never asked for my throne. He never tried to command my fire. He simply stood beside me, equal and chosen by me. I touched the mark at my neck. It no longer burned in protection. It glowed in balance. I don't need a shield, I told him softly. What do you need? He asked. A partner. His hand found mine. You have one. Under the full moon before both packs, I chose him. Not because destiny demanded it, because I wanted him. And this time, no one rejected me. 1 year after the war, the packs gathered again under a full moon. There was no smoke, no fear. Blackwood and Nightfall trained together. Shared borders, shared strength. The prophecy had spoken of unity or destruction. I forgot one thing, choice. Celine stood beside me in soft blue. No crown, no rivalry, just peace. Cade led the warriors with strength and humility. Ronan stood at my side as Alpha of Nightfall. My equal, my chosen mate. The moon goddess marked us properly that night. Not in desperation, not in protection, but in balance. Saving my Alpha's life once shattered my world. His rejection broke my heart. My sister's betrayal nearly destroyed me. But losing what I thought was destiny led me to what I truly deserved. Not a throne handed to me. Not a mate who feared my fire. But a life built on strength without apology. They once rejected the flame. Now they stood in its warmth. And this time, I was not someone's Luna. I was Alpha. And I chose the one who never tried to dim my fire.